Paul Marsh of the Marsh Agency, welcome to the London Book Fair podcast. You've been an agent now for 30 years, almost exactly. How has the role of agent changed over that time, and are the challenges now greater than ever, do you think?
I think the challenges have grown in that time. I think there is a lot of pressure on publishing houses, which has left them less time to work on the editorial side of preparation of material, which is so important to get books into shape before they really go into the market. So agents now spend a lot more time working on activities that traditionally were, and when I started, were publishers' jobs. And there are also pressures on everybody in terms of margins. If you look at the abolition of the net book agreement in that time, what that has meant for the detail of contract and the squeezing of authors' income has made the role of an agent all the more important and all the more challenging, I think.
You came into the business during a recession. Here we are in another recession. There have been two intermediate ones, but this is by far the worst. How is it affecting right sales?
I think at the moment it's a question of confidence. There's so much uncertainty around with the bankruptcies that we've seen, Woolworths and the knock-on effect there. I think that has not yet manifested itself in terms of our particular business and what we can sell, because already over the last few years the business had become harder, publishers had become more selective and had to be more careful about what they bought. And so I feel that if we can get through this and confidence begins to return, then we will be settling down. So it's more of a theoretical lack of confidence, I think, at the moment, rather than actual effect on the sales that we're able to make.
Do you think you might emerge from this with a more sensible industry in terms of its structure and its finances?
Yes, I think that one big change that we've seen since the abolition of the net book agreement is that we've seen larger rewards for a smaller number of people, be it publishers, the power of big publishers, and in our particular case, authors. So the big authors have got bigger, and the smaller authors have either been dropped altogether or certainly are paid a lot less. So we've already been going through a process where publishers have become more realistic in general about what they pay, sometimes dropping, but still prepared to put out a lot of money for something that they think is going to hit the big time. So I don't think that will change. I think that that's probably irreversible. I don't think the middle list is going to come back.
Which is great sadness. What effect do you think the economic situation might have on India and China and the Arab world, all rather exciting emerging publishing cultures?
I think there's a lot of energy coming from India in terms of its culture, its business, and in terms of its writing. I think we've still got a lot to find out about Indian writers in other languages. I think that's something which will be emphasised in the market focus at this fair. Mm-hmm. And I think that we, as agents, need to use the opportunity to inform ourselves about that. There are a couple of good agents in India itself, and a number of big agents in the UK and the US who already represent leading Indian writers, but I'm sure there's a lot more for us to find out, and more opportunities for us to represent, and also perhaps opportunities for us to work with local agents and help to bring their work into the wider world outside India.
How are the conditions in the foreign rights market? Who's up, who's down right now?
The Christmas sales in Germany were very good, and the Italians were up 3 or 4%. There are, in spite of the recession, and traditionally publishing is seen as sometimes counter-cyclical to recessions, there definitely seems to be, in Europe, some strengths and some good success over Christmas, so I'm very happy about that. The more volatile markets are ones that have gone up a lot in the past. For example, Asia, South Korea last year was very much a growth market, and for economic reasons they have definitely had to cut back on the rights that they've been able to buy and the amount that they've been able to pay for them. So I would say that we've still got stability in the key Western European markets, but in the countries like the BRICS countries mainly, Latin America and Asia, where we did see a lot of growth, that is definitely going down. I hope it's temporary, but we've
What about
seen
Eastern Europe, which has been quite
Eastern Europe, I think, comes along with mainly with the West. We're still selling as much in Poland, for example, as we did. I think some of the smaller countries, Hungary, for example, they're under much more pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So we keep a very close eye on what's happening with the currencies. It's important to us because that's also where our income is coming from. But in terms of what it means for what they can afford in buying rights and importing rights.